and breach it. Where the digital hits the physical, we take the red pill, we break the seal. Infallible security, making it real. Bharat Mattaparti on the mic tonight, turning the darkness into light.
Our second topic in securing the borders forces us to rethink everything we know about how malicious software communicates, especially as state-sponsored proxies prepare for the asymmetric retaliation we just discussed. In late February 2026, Google's threat intelligence teams disrupted a massive operation by UNC2814. This is a highly sophisticated China-nexus cyber espionage group. They didn't just breach one or two targets. They successfully compromised at least 53 global organizations. But the initial breach is not the most fascinating part of this story. It is how they maintained control once they were inside. They developed a novel backdoor that researchers have dubbed GRIDTIDE. To understand why GRIDTIDE is so revolutionary, we need to understand how malware traditionally works. Historically, when an adversary installs malicious code on your network, that code has to phone home. It has to reach out to a command and control server, often called a C2 server, to receive instructions from the hackers and to exfiltrate your stolen data. Defenders know this. As an industry, we spend billions of dollars on firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and threat hunting teams specifically to look for that weird, anomalous traffic heading out to suspicious IP addresses or unregistered domains in foreign countries. UNC2814 knew we were looking. So, they didn't build a new suspicious infrastructure. Instead, they orchestrated their entire command and control operation through the Google Sheets API. This brings us to today's red pill insight: the weaponization of trust. Adversaries are actively abandoning custom, recognizable malware infrastructure. They are turning the legitimate, trusted software as a service platforms that power our daily workflows into hostile networks. When the GRIDTIDE malware communicated with its operators, to any firewall or security analyst watching the network logs, it just looked like an employee updating a spreadsheet. It seamlessly bypassed heuristic detection because the traffic was wrapped in a cryptographic trust of Google's own servers. You cannot simply block Google Sheets at the firewall of a modern enterprise without shutting down the business. Think about Christopher Nolan's film Inception. The entire premise of that movie relies on the architect building a dream that feels entirely real to the subject. The target's mind populates the dream with their own subconscious projections. The greatest trick the extraction team pulls is not forcing their way violently into the mind. It is folding the maze in on itself so that the architecture hides the extraction process. The subject believes they are interacting with their own reality, while the architect secretly controls the parameters. GRIDTIDE is digital inception. The adversary did not break through the wall to pull data out. They folded the corporate maze. They used the very tools we trust, the APIs we whitelist by default, to hide their extractions in plain sight. But I promised you a positive outlook, and here is the preparation piece. This forces us to mature our defensive posture. We can no longer rely purely on static indicators of compromise or IOCs. We can't just block a list of bad IP addresses and call it a day. This event pushes the cybersecurity industry toward advanced behavioral analytics. We have to stop asking where the data is going and start asking why an endpoint server in the HR department is suddenly making 10,000 API calls to a Google Sheet at 3 a.m. By forcing us to look at the behavior rather than just destinations, adversaries are inadvertently training us to build much smarter, context-aware security environments. They are making our immune systems stronger.
This is Bytes, Borders and Breaches. The signal is loud.